Hey there, fellow prisoners of infrastructure. Welcome back. I'm coming to you live from my car, which is currently cosplaying as a very expensive park bench. 8 miles, 47 minutes. That's a speed of roughly 10 miles per hour, which means I'm currently being outpaced by a jogger, several cyclists, and one determined pigeon I saw back there. The year is 2026. We have artificial intelligence that can write poetry, robots performing surgery, and a billionaire who shot a car into space for fun. And yet, here I sit, moving at the same speed my great-grandmother moved in 1926, except she had better hats and lower blood pressure. For decades, we've been promised revolutionary transportation, flying cars, self-driving vehicles, Hyperloop, tubes that shoot you across the country like a human email attachment. And every year, the future gets pushed back another year, like a deadline written by an optimistic procrastinator. So today, while I have nothing but time and existential dread, let's talk about the actual future of transportation. What's real, what's vaporware, and what's been almost ready so long it should file for retirement. Yes, thank you. I also see the 6 inches of progress available to me. Your honk has solved traffic. We're all free now. Let's start with self-driving cars, the technology that's been 2 years away for approximately 11 years. First, what are we even talking about? A self-driving car or autonomous vehicle is a car that drives itself without human input. It uses cameras, radar, and sometimes lidar, which is basically laser radar for people who think regular radar isn't expensive enough to see the world around it. A computer processes all this data and decides when to steer, brake, and accelerate. Now, there are levels to this. The Society of Automotive Engineers created a scale from level 0 to level 5. Level 0 is your car does nothing. You do everything. Level 5 is full automation. The car handles any situation, anywhere, and you're basically cargo with opinions. Most self-driving features today are level 2. That means the car can steer and accelerate by itself, but you have to watch it constantly in case it tries to merge into a fire truck. So it's less self-driving and more extremely needy driving. You're not a passenger. You're a supervisor for a machine that costs you $80,000. Now, a brief history of automotive optimism. 2015, Elon Musk says fully self-driving Teslas will arrive within 2 years. 2016, he says 2017. 2017, he says 2019. 2019, he announces 1 million robotaxis by 2020. 2020, nothing happens. But to be fair, nothing happened to anyone that year. 2021, coming soon. 2022, almost there. 2023, any day now. 2024, robotaxi revealed. Very cool. Coming next year. It's now 2026. Tesla's full self-driving is still level 2. They literally had to add the word supervised to the name, which is the legal equivalent of putting "trust me, bro" in a contract. The feature is named after something it cannot do. That's like calling a bicycle a full self-flying motorcycle grounded. Now, in Tesla's defense, and I don't say that often, they have started actual robotaxi service in Austin. No safety driver in the car, but there is a remote operator who can take over. So it's not driverless, it's driver elsewhere. The steering wheel is just decorative, like a vestigial organ, but for cars. Here's the plot twist. Actual self-driving cars do exist. Waymo, owned by Google's parent company because of course Google is involved, has been operating genuine level 4 robotaxis with no human anywhere in the vehicle. They're in 6 cities now: Phoenix, San Francisco, LA, Austin, Atlanta, and as of January 2026, Miami. Over 250,000 paid rides per week. Real passengers, real streets, real no one at the wheel. They just launched in Miami, which, if you've ever driven in Miami, is basically the boss level of driving. It's a city where turn signals are considered a sign of weakness. The difference between Waymo and Tesla? Waymo uses lidar, radar, and cameras, redundant systems, so if one fails, others compensate. Tesla uses cameras only, relying on AI to interpret everything. It's the difference between wearing a belt and suspenders versus just believing really hard that your pants will stay up. Ford announced Level 3 eyes-off driving coming in 2028. That's when you can legally look away from the road. 2 more years of staring at the road while your car drives itself. The technology exists to take a photo of Earth from another galaxy, but the technology to let me look at my phone during my commute is still pending regulatory approval. The honest summary? In select cities, you can summon a robot car that will drive you places. Everywhere else, you're still the robot car and you don't even get paid. Flying cars. The Jetsons promised them. Back to the Future promised them. Every World's Fair since 1939 promised them. They were the official mascot of the future before the future got rebranded to mean apps. Now here's the thing. The flying car you're imagining, a regular car that sprouts wings and takes off from your driveway, is not really what's being built. That exists, technically, but it's impractical. You'd need a runway, a pilot's license, and neighbors who don't believe in zoning laws. What's actually being built are eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. It's an electric aircraft that lifts off like a helicopter but cruises like a plane. Multiple rotors, some tilt to switch between modes. Battery powered, so quieter than helicopters, and no emissions during flight. Think of it as what would happen if a helicopter, a drone, and a Tesla had a baby, and that baby was raised by aerospace engineers with venture capital money. It's less flying car and more sky Uber. The industry prefers air taxi because flying car comes with 70 years of unmet expectations. Several companies are competing to make this happen. The front runner in the U.S. is Joby Aviation. They've flown over 9,000 miles of tests. They've done flights between actual public airports in California. They went to Japan and flew past Mount Fuji, which is an excellent flex. They flew in Dubai because Dubai is the place where the future beta tests itself before coming to America. Joby's aircraft hits 200 miles per hour with a range of about 150 miles. That's not crossing the country, but it's perfect for I refuse to sit on the 405 for 2 hours. Archer Aviation is another big player. Their Midnight aircraft is designed for short urban hops, 20 to 50 miles. They're working with cities to put vertiports on parking garage rooftops. So you'd drive your car to the 3rd floor, leave it there, and take an air taxi from the roof. It's like valet parking, but the valet is gravity. In China, a company called eHang is already doing commercial flights, actual passengers paying actual money in actual pilotless aircraft right now. While we're still filling out environmental impact statements, China looked at our regulatory process and said, "That's cute," and just started flying people around. Okay, cold water time. Joby is targeting commercial service in 2026, but analysts think late 2027 is more realistic. The FAA is still working on certification. This would be the first entirely new aircraft category certified in over 80 years. They're being thorough, which, given we're talking about strapping humans to experimental electric aircraft, seems reasonable. Cost is the big one. Initial air taxi rides will be expensive, like helicopter expensive, like this isn't replacing my Honda Civic expensive. The vision is that costs will come down as production scales, the same way flat-screen TVs went from second mortgage to impulse buy at Costco. But initially, this is a rich person's solution to traffic. Infrastructure is another hurdle. These things need vertiports, places to take off and land. Most cities don't have those. Building them requires permits, construction, and convincing people that having electric aircraft buzzing over their neighborhood is actually fine. NIMBYism already killed regular public transit expansion. Wait until it meets flying machines. The realistic timeline. If you live in a major city, LA, New York, Dubai, Tokyo, you might be able to take an air taxi by 2027 or 2028 from specific locations to specific destinations for the price of a really nice dinner. For the rest of us, we'll watch YouTube videos of people riding in them and feel feelings. But hey, At least the future exists somewhere, even if somewhere is currently Dubai and parts of China. Hyperloop. We need to talk about Hyperloop. Gather around because this is a cautionary tale about what happens when physics meets press releases. In 2013, Elon Musk published a white paper describing Hyperloop, passenger pods traveling through near vacuum tubes at over 700 miles per hour. New York to DC in 30 minutes, LA to San Francisco in 35 minutes, solar-powered, cheaper than high-speed rail, safer than planes. It was the transportation equivalent of what if we made everything better and also cheaper? The idea: remove air resistance by sucking most of the air out of a tube. Remove friction by floating the pod on magnets or air bearings. The result is you're basically a human bullet in a very long gun. What could possibly go wrong? Musk open sourced the concept, which is Silicon Valley for, I have this idea, but I don't want to do the boring part. Companies sprang up to build it. Billions were invested. Governments signed letters of intent. The future was coming. And then it wasn't. Virgin Hyperloop, the most funded, most promising Hyperloop company, shut down at the end of 2023. Just stopped, laid everyone off, closed the doors. The company that did the first passenger test in 2020 vanished faster than my motivation on a Monday morning. Why did it fail? Let me count the ways. 1. Maintaining a near vacuum over hundreds of miles is engineering on nightmare difficulty. One small leak and your vacuum tube is just a tube with expensive magnets in it. 2. Cost estimates were optimistic in the way that a lottery ticket is a retirement plan. We're talking $75 million per kilometer of track. To go from New York to LA, you'd need the GDP of a small country. 3. Safety questions nobody could answer. What happens in an emergency inside a vacuum tube at 700 miles per hour? The answer is physics, but angry. 4. The G-forces and centrifugal forces during turns could induce motion sickness. The future of transportation was going to make you nauseous. Very on brand for tech promises, actually. Now, there is a fast train technology that works. Maglev, magnetic levitation. The train floats above the track using magnets. No contact, no friction. Japan has trains that have hit 375 miles per hour in testing. China has operational maglev lines. It's real. It exists. It moves people at astonishing speed. Japan is building a maglev line from Tokyo to Osaka, opening in 2027. There's been talk of a DC to New York maglev in the U.S. for years. The problem in America? We can't even build regular trains. California has been trying to build high-speed rail between LA and San Francisco since 2008. The budget has quadrupled. The timeline has doubled. It's still not done. We are not a country that builds train infrastructure anymore. We're a country that talks about building train infrastructure and then drives to the airport. So, Hyperloop is dead. Maglev is real, but requires infrastructure we won't build. The lesson? If something sounds too good to be true and comes with a lot of renders and not a lot of passengers, maybe wait for version 2 or version 1 or evidence it exists. Okay, let's talk about what's actually changing transportation right now, while everyone's distracted by concepts that may or may not exist. Electric vehicles, EVs. The technology revolution that doesn't make for exciting press releases because it's just better cars. You know what an EV is. Battery instead of gas tank. Electric motor instead of engine. Plug it in instead of pumping fuel. No tailpipe emissions. Fewer moving parts. Less maintenance. The least exciting revolution imaginable because it looks exactly like what we already have, just better. But here's why EVs matter. They're the future that actually showed up. While we were waiting for flying cars, electric cars were quietly taking over. In China, over 50% of new car sales are now electric or plug-in hybrid. In Europe, more electric cars sold in December than gas cars. The revolution is happening in boring increments, which is how revolutions usually happen. Remember range anxiety? The fear that your EV would die and you'd be stranded in the middle of nowhere, forced to explain to a tow truck driver why you trusted technology. That's basically solved. The Lucid Gravity does 450 miles on a charge. The Chevy Silverado EV hits 460 miles. The Rivian R1S does 410 miles. That's more range than most gas cars. My current gas car can't do 460 miles on a tank. Range anxiety has been replaced by I forgot to plug it in anxiety, which is just regular human forgetfulness. Charging is getting faster too. Ultra fast chargers, 350 kilowatts, can get you to 80% in 15 to 20 minutes. That's a bathroom break and bad gas station coffee. It's not instant, but it's not the multi-hour commitment it used to be. And charging stations are everywhere now. Starbucks has them, Marriott has them, Taco Bell has them. You can charge your car while making questionable food decisions at 11 p.m. Now here's something actually exciting in the battery world. Solid-state batteries. These have been 5 years away for 15 years. The self-driving cars of battery technology, but they're actually showing up now. Current EV batteries use liquid electrolyte, the material ions move through when charging. Solid-state batteries replace the liquid with a solid. Benefits: more energy in less space, faster charging, much lower fire risk, better performance in extreme temperatures. The trade-off was always, we can't manufacture them at scale. That's changing. At CES 2026, a company called Donut Lab announced solid-state batteries that charge to 100% in 5 minutes and last 100,000 charge cycles. That's not a lab demo. They're going into Verge Electric motorcycles this quarter, actually shipping, actually riding, actually real. Chinese automaker Dongfeng says they'll have solid-state EVs with over 620 miles of range by September. Stellantis is testing them in Dodge Chargers. Toyota says 2027 or 2028 for production vehicles. A Mercedes test vehicle with factorial solid-state batteries drove 745 miles on a single charge. 5-minute charging, 600-plus mile range. Batteries that don't turn your car into a fire hazard. This is the future of transportation that's actually arriving. Not in flying machines, but in the machines we already use, just substantially better. It's not sexy, it's just good, which is how useful technology usually is. Oh, we're moving after the entire video. Classic. Let me give you the honest summary of the future of transportation. Self-driving cars. Real but geofenced. Waymo works great in 6 cities. Tesla works-ish in limited areas with remote supervision. For the rest of us, we're still driving ourselves like it's 1908, except now the car also shows us how to get there wrong in 3 different apps. Flying cars. Actually coming, finally, for real this time, in 2027 or 2028, in select cities, for wealthy people. So think of it less as the Jetsons and more as helicopter service with better marketing. Hyperloop, dead. A beautiful idea that couldn't survive contact with engineering reality. File it under things that worked and renders. Electric vehicles, the actual revolution, happening now, getting better fast. Your next car will probably be electric. It'll go 400-plus miles on a charge. Charge while you eat breakfast and not require you to believe in anything. It just works, like technology should. Here's the truth about transportation. It changes slowly because it has to. Moving humans at high speed is hard. Moving them safely is harder. Moving them affordably while satisfying regulators, communities, and physics is the hardest thing there is. Every technology we discussed today has to solve all of those problems simultaneously. So when someone promises you revolutionary transportation in 2 years, remember, they've been promising that for 20 years. The future arrives slowly, in boring increments, and usually looks a lot like the present, with better batteries. But I do hope I live to see the day when I can fly over traffic instead of sitting in it. Not because flying cars will solve traffic. They won't. We'll just have traffic in 3 dimensions. But because after a century of promises, we deserve to see it actually happen at least once. That was either an air taxi or a very ambitious drone. Either way, the future is up there somewhere. I can see it from here. Ooh, nice. The robot car is here. I guess the future did show up. It's just very selective about where it goes. For more Stick IT, be sure to click the link and remember, the more you know, the better you tech. So stick with it